Hey, good morning, traders. My morning brief video. So this morning we are opening below this week's anchor to VWAP to kick off the session. We came right up to it, uh, and we rejected it so far this morning. So basically, the 571.90 area, if we can hold below that, then that's setting up sub for a bearish setup to kick off the week. This is the last day of the quarter. We saw massive sell orders that hit into last week, suggesting that there will probably be some sell side action today. So be very mindful of that. So there are some traders who are locking in their end of quarter profits, and so it's not going to be a lot of people jumping in front of the train, in my opinion. Okay. Qs below this week's anchored VWAP. Heads up on that. Now, the opening below these anchored VWAPs on the Qs and SPY, we have not done that to the start of the week since before FOMC week. So be very mindful of that. This is a change in tone that we have not seen since the FOMC came out with the rate hike. And that's the way we're starting this morning. Way below the anchored VWAP wall this morning here on the Russell. Russell's been showing a lot of relative weakness going into the end of quarter, so be very mindful of that. We do have this area right here, in my opinion, is the area that should be supported. We have been overlooking it a little bit so far. So basically, we know if we lose this secondary anchored VWAP down here, that actually the full-on bear scenario is setting up. So be very mindful of that going into today's session. I am not on the bullish side on this since we're below this. So basically, if we can get back above 220, then I'd be looking to the long side. But otherwise, we have to. It's mostly chopping, but with a bearish bias. So be very mindful of that. Diamonds. So it's opening pretty good this morning on the diamonds. So they're still supporting the diamond, but that's only 30 stocks. Here's our main support down here around the 419. So heads up on that if they want to back test to 419. So diamonds are still looking good. SMH is acting the weakest this morning. We have broken our anchored VWAP trend from last week. So we have broken the trend for the anchored VWAP. This is kicking off the day, suggesting a bearish setup early on this morning. Our main supports are down here in the 439 or 239 to 236 area, 239 to 236 area. So this area right down here is what we're looking for as our support for this pattern to come back down into that range. Bearish, that's going to, and seeing semis are such a major component of tech, that's giving us a warning. Okay, heads up on that. Knowing that our support is actually here suggests that even these highs here is not likely to be supported. Be very mindful of that. Apple, we are in a wide call wall range here on Apple. It's rallying, so this suggests to me, since it's a wide call wall range, that you can find strategic shorts in this area, in my opinion, because of this being a massive call wall. So, if we were to come up into the 235s for some reason, that might be setting up as a short setup in today's session. But yeah, you can go all the way up to 235, and it's still a valid short setup. So be very mindful of that. Bottom line is, they came in, they defended major support already this morning on Apple. So be mindful of that. If we'd have been breaking that early on this morning, I would have been looking for an early short. But now, now we're right into, like I said, a major call area. So be very careful on that. The most bearish chart is Microsoft. It's been selling off for 2 weeks now. Even after the FOMC, we saw large orders coming in selling Microsoft. We are currently nearing the buy zone, so be very mindful of that. So down in this zone here, we have been here before, but we are potentially in a buy zone potential. These prior swing highs are right here too. We have been down here before. I mean, we are in a negative gamma squeeze for Microsoft. So be very mindful of that. That's why I really don't want to be doing the buy the dip, because we're in a negative gamma situation for Microsoft. So that's very dangerous. Not very many charts that we've been seeing for negative gamma. Microsoft's really given us our first big signal of a negative gamma situation. That means that it could actually blow up pretty bad if the markets decide to sell down. So not something I know this is supposed to be supported, but being in negative gamma, that really bothers me. So I'm probably not going to try to buy the support on this one. Okay. I got to have more evidence, but that way. AMD, we had a bunch of puts coming in on AMD at the 176.50. So our put wall is literally above us. So we're also in a negative gamma situation on this. Very high odds. We're coming down to the 160 at a minimum. Back testing this breakout. So we have basically a breakout. Look above, which could completely fall apart because we are in a negative gamma. So be very mindful of that. So that's the second one we have negative gamma. Those are the two worst ones I've noticed. NVDA. So basically we've came up. Now we're coming back down into potential support here. So heads up on that. Oh, another thing on IWM, if I can find it on my chart here. We had, once we crossed, see how we had the higher low? We crossed above our support on IWM. We had a squeeze, a short squeeze, and how that short squeeze has all failed. That's a big warning to us here on IWM, so be very mindful of that. Tesla, we're right in here into a double topping situation. 160 is our call wall. We're currently ticking above that. Autos in Germany are just getting decimated this morning. They're throwing out their growth forecast for the entire year. It's really bad, and so it's a really bad headline out of Europe and auto sales. So be very mindful of that. We are in, like I said, a double top, a technical potential situation, but we are above the 260. So, but we still have time to 9:30. I suspect, if they're wanting to take us down, that we're going to lose 260 before 9:30. So let's definitely keep this one on watch here. We do have October 10th, a big event happening, and that's what's been driving this up. A lot of traders think we're going to be going up to the 275, 280 area. Our next major area is at the 270, and that would technically finish our pattern to the upside. That's why I really don't want to short this, because I do think we're going to 270. So heads up on that. Google, kind of right in the middle of no man's land. It's not really doing anything. So heads up on that. Good chance we came out. We crossed above last week's anchored VWAP, and it came right back down. Okay, so just doesn't have any month at all on Google. Meta looks like it's setting up corrective. We're actually pushing below last week's anchored VWAP start. So this is actually starting to look like it's starting a corrective pattern to kick off the week. Heads up on that. And now if we do a corrective pattern, the bigger on the bigger, like, has been in a really nice thing, nice upswing. We could be coming all the way back down to 510. So be very mindful of that. That would put us in a negative gamma situation. So this is the bigger picture support. Ideally, we'd be targeting the FOMC gap first. So we'd be targeting this down here. So this one here really starting to look like a toppy. On my FIDs, we have completed a pattern to the upside potentially. So I like this one, my favorite, as a potential short. We'll see what happens today. As a potential short, my favorite is Meta so far today. Amazon. So these are potential buy zones. Okay, this is a big buy zone right here, potential for Amazon. Okay. Ideally, you're looking at the 184 area as your main support. So be mindful of that. I think yeah, okay. And the start of that right there, that would put us right there. So about 184.70. That looks like a really good support point right there. Start of that anchored VWAP. I didn't have that drawn on there, but I'd be looking at that right there. That right there possibly be coming down into this. It would be potentially our buy zone for a to reset for another move, the next move higher in the markets. So basically, a lot of these things. This is a broken chart. You know, this is a bearish chart. So be mindful of that. If you're trying to come in and try to buy the dip on something like that, you're going to likely to get burnt. Okay, Netflix. Uh, there's a headline that came out over the weekend that there was a big number of people who dropped membership. I don't know if it's fake news or not. After the CEO of Netflix announced that he was supporting the Democratic ticket, and so I don't know if that's going to mean anything or not. But we are in nosebleed area. The 700 area is very critical, so be very mindful of this. So we've come up, and now we're back testing support, and we'll see what happens. So technically this should be buy the dip, but we do have a headline risk potential here for Netflix. Okay, Boeing still has not come down to my 150 area, so it's getting close, but it's not there yet. So we still have not, in my opinion, bottomed. We got down to 151. That could be it, but I still don't think Boeing has bottomed, in my opinion. Okay, guys, as far as the indices go, anything standing out here, XLF has been very bearish in this market. We're potentially into a buy zone on XLF early on this morning. Yeah, but this has been so ugly. I don't know about that. So, you know, we have a trend here. You know, so we want to see XLF hold early on this morning. Otherwise, things could get ugly in this market. That's the primary one that I'm looking at. So semis are looking really bad. Really need to see XLF holding here. Let's see, is there anything else I want to talk about here? XLY was into the 200 call wall. It's still a call wall for this week. So 200, we're currently trading right above that call wall for XLY. And remember, Amazon is the biggest holding in XLY, and it's actually technically a bearish chart. So do want to point that out. Consumer discretionary could be under pressure early on this morning as well. Okay. Thanks a lot for listening, and please like my video on X or Twitter, whichever you want to call it, and retweet it. If you get a chance, retweet me on Twitter. I appreciate it. We get a lot of people watching these videos, and leave some comments below if you guys see stuff that I'm not seeing, or if you know just want to make good positive comments. I appreciate all the feedback.